Okay, recording. Hello, everybody. I am very excited to welcome you to our Wednesday night training Zoom and welcome our special guest, Miss Laura Murphy, who is coming to us while she's on vacation with her family in the warm Florida, as kind of making me cold watching her hair blow in the wind. Gosh, if you're outside here, it's freezing in Oklahoma today. We haven't gotten out of the 20s and we've had lots of sleet and ice. So I'm glad that she's where she's warm, but we want to let her get back to her family. And after she shares with us, you guys, what I got to hear her share in Maui at our MVP leadership meeting. And I will tell you, she's kind of been a nonstop, like on the road trainer from wherever she is on this training that she gave all of us in Maui because it was that amazing. And I will tell you, there's more and exciting things coming along. I think you've already recorded a Learn and Burn for Arbonne, right? And so I'm excited for everybody to have access to that, but just super proud of her. And what I loved, you guys, the most, and it's the part I love about Arbonne and the thing I love most about people is when they're just real. And that is the thing that shines through. And I know Laura will share her story, but also share, what she believes about social media. But what I want to just do is I want to just preface this training, and I know Laura agrees, that we're not saying stop what you're doing and go do social media only to build your Arbonne business. But it is definitely something that you can do to add to the business that you're building with Arbonne. And I think the most beautiful training I've seen done, Laura, since we've been this social media push was the one you did in Maui. And so I just want to say thank you, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm going to turn it over to you so that you can take off and bless us and everybody here just like you blessed us in Maui. So thank you, dear.
Thank you so much, Carlita. This is such an honor to be asked. And I've been watching Carlita. She's been like an Arbonne celeb to me for years and years. I've been in Arbonne almost 10 years. So very familiar with the Girl Friday. So this is a real honor to share with you, and awesome that there's so many of you on here. This is awesome. So thank you guys for joining. And I'm going to start just by telling you a little bit about me and my story, because I think that always helps before we go into a training. I will say I've got some throat thing going on, so I sound a little bit off, but I might be drinking a little water here and there. Yeah, it's, anyway, that's, I guess, what happens when you travel. So as I mentioned, I've been in Arbonne almost 10 years. I'll be celebrating my 10-year anniversary in May. I was introduced to this awesome company, this amazing opportunity in the spring of 2008 when I was just 24 years old. I was working in my family's hotel and restaurant business in Prince Edward Island, which is where I live. And like Carlita said, I am in sunny Florida right now, a long way from home. Prince Edward Island is a very, very small island on the far east coast of Canada. And it is, I've just like totally forgotten about winter. We've been here for 2 weeks. We're here for another week and a half. So I'm like loving this Florida lifestyle. But I always, growing up, always wanted to work in my family's business. My dad had built this business from the time I was just a little girl, amazingly successful. He was so passionate and excited about it in hotels and restaurants, mostly franchises, and just growing year after year after year. And so I went away to university, got my degree in business, and then started working for him because I thought I was going to feel like that. And I was going to have that passion, that excitement that he had. And I just didn't. It was missing. And I don't know if any of you can relate where you're like, think you want to do something and you go and you plan and you prepare for it. And then you start doing it. You're like, oh no, this isn't the way it was supposed to feel. But I was in my early 20s and I had never even considered doing anything else. And I always say I love working for my dad and we're super close and his business is amazing. But I think what it comes down to, or what it came down to, is that I didn't like how work worked. I didn't like the day after day after day, working 60 plus hours a week after week for X number of vacation days and being on someone else's time. And even though it was my family's business, I was still an employee, trading time for money. And I just had this burning desire inside of me to do something more and to have something of my own, but I didn't know what that was going to look like. I didn't know how I would ever get started on that. And it was a couple years into my position with his company running one of his hotels in Prince Edward Island that I met my sponsor, Liz McDonald, who you may have heard of before, seen trained at GTC. She is now an MVP the day I met her at the hotel. She was a guest staying there. Okay. So this is how I got like into this business, was through a complete stranger who was a hockey mom staying at the hotel that I was running. And her and I got chatting. She told me about the product. She majorly had my attention about the products. But then she said to me, I remember, she was like, you should look at doing this here on the island as a business. And I was like, oh, it's one of those businesses. And I actually remember that day I'd forgotten to wear my name tag, which said Laura Murphy, General Manager. And I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, if I had that name tag on, this lady would not be trying to get me to sell her lipstick. Like, I just thought this business was so below me, but I liked her and she seemed happy. And I watched her over the course of the weekend and I just was intrigued. So a couple weeks later, she asked me to sit down and learn about what this business actually was and not what I thought it was, because I think she was picking up on the fact that I thought it was something that it wasn't. And I agreed. And I went from the biggest Arbonne skeptic to an Arbonne consultant in the span of a few hours that night and started my Arbonne business. And I'll tell you what, the reason that I started Arbonne at 24 years old that night, like without much thought, oh, here we go, a little wind. Yeah, there we go. Without much thought, like I didn't go home and think about this. I was like, I'm in. Like, it was the easiest decision I ever made. And honestly, guys, it was because she showed me for the first time in my life an opportunity to have what I call the best of both worlds, that you can have a very successful business, an unlimited potential for income. You can have opportunities on the career side of life and be challenged, all that stuff that I wanted. Like, I wanted to work, but I wanted to do it on my terms. So she showed me that you could have all that, but you could have a life at the same time. You could have time for the things that matter to you. You didn't have to try and like squeeze them into your evenings and weekends, which at the time I wasn't really even having those free. Like, I just saw something I'd never seen before. And I remember thinking, if there's even like a 1% chance that I can have what she's talking about, I'm doing this, because no one else had ever offered me that before. I grew up surrounded by entrepreneurs in my family, and I knew that there was amazing rewards to business ownership, but I also knew that you typically traded most of your time for many, many years for those rewards. And she was telling me it didn't have to be like that. So I was in, and honestly, guys, I can't even believe the impact that small decision at 24 years old, when I didn't have the life I have now or kids or anything like that, like it literally has impacted every single aspect of my life. And every day on an hourly basis, I get to make really important choices that are a direct result of that decision 10 years ago to do this business, and the decisions I made along the way to stay the course and overcome many obstacles and keep going against all odds and build an incredibly successful business. And like it's given me so many gifts. But now being a mom to two young girls, Polly's 3.5, Rena's almost 2, and we're expecting baby number 3 this summer. And for my husband and I, we're both home full-time as full-time parents for our little girls. That has been the greatest gift, to give him that choice to come home, have some time, like slow down, do what he does best, be an awesome dad and a great support to me. And, you know, he always jokes, like, I'm like, I didn't retire you. He's not retired, but he gets to take this time to do what's most important and then not have this pressure of what he's going to do next or when that's even going to happen. And that's been a pretty awesome gift that this business has given us at such a young stage in our lives. So that is a little glimpse of my story. And another choice that I'm loving is the ability to leave freezing cold PEI and be in beautiful Florida for 3.5 weeks right now to spend time with my family. It's been super awesome. So I'm working on building a business down here so I can come back more and more. So one of the things that when I was introduced to Arbonne that really caught my attention, because I live in a really small place. PEI is quite small, and there's not like a massive amount of opportunity there. And if you had a business that you could only grow in PEI, it would be very limited what you could do with it. So one of the things that jumped out to me at Arbonne was that it was a global opportunity and it was online. Like, those things really stood out to me, that I could live in this beautiful province that I love, but I didn't have to sacrifice opportunity. So this whole online thing was super, super appealing. And over the years, it's become something that really, like Carlita said, yes, it's not like replace what you're doing and just build your business on social media, but it is an amazing tool in your toolbox. And if you use it properly, you can have awesome results to really build a business outside of your area or even in your area. I have business right now spread throughout all across Canada and into the other countries Arbonne is in. And so much of it is a result of social media and those connections that you make. So I'm going to be talking to you tonight about building your social brand. And as Carlita said, I recently did this training in Maui for the NVPs, which was a major out of comfort zone moment for me to be asked to get up in front of like all my idols and mentors and share. But I really loved this topic that was given to me. And when it was given to me, I was kind of like, ooh, I don't know. I'm not the expert on this, but I really, really loved it. And Kay actually shared with me that she was the one who suggested me because she watches me on social media. And for any of you who might be friends with me on Facebook, I'm not an expert, but what I'm doing is working because of these things that I'm going to share with you. Okay, so just let me get through here because I kind of did a different. Okay, so I do feel because I'm not an expert, most of us are not, I'm probably a really great person to talk about this subject because I am like a lot of you. I'm kind of learning and figuring this all out. And I can say that although the social brand that I've been building hasn't been overly strategic, but it's been kind of more of an organic evolution over the years, it is working, like I said. And I would say that most of you listening, like me, could use a little basic guidance and direction in this department, probably, right? So in the process of putting this together, doing a bit of research and gathering my own thoughts on my own social brand, I feel like I have some good basic stuff for you guys, okay? And like Carlita said, I've also recorded this in a Learn and Burn, so you'll have all access to that as well pretty soon. Because ultimately, I think that's what we all want is the basics. We just want somewhere to get started. And let's be honest, we're all spending time online, right? So we want to make that time count and make it equal results in our businesses. So I think it helps to start, as we often do, with the why. Why is having a social brand important? Your brand is so important. And actually, I have to share my screen because I have slides, but you're going to, I think you lose me, like you don't see me, or do you see me?
We can still see your face.
Okay, good. So I'm going to share my screen. Sorry for my first slide. Host disabled attendee screen sharing.
You know what? Let me let you do that.
Okay.
Sorry, Laura.
Special permission here.
To find you. Where did you go? There you go.
Okay, awesome. Oh.
You should be able to go.
There we go. You are now the host. Okay, awesome. And this is still on Maui slides, so you guys are getting like really look at what exactly was trained on in Maui. So if I press play, Carlita, can you still? Yeah, you can still see me. Yeah. Awesome.
Yes, I can. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. No, that's cool. Okay. So your brand is so important because it's what's going to allow you to build and truly connect with a loyal audience, one who is actually following you, influenced by you, trusts you, and wants what you have. And we know that people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. This is pretty basic information in the real world, but I think when it comes to the online world, sometimes we don't realize that if we aren't clear and consistent with our brand, we actually inhibit our ability to create that connection and trust. And this really affects our businesses. I just can't help but think of all the missed opportunities out there from me alone, let alone from all you guys listening and all of our teams, from being unintentional with our branding. And what we don't realize is that if we don't build our brands with intention, they still get built. But I can tell you it's not always in the direction of what we want them to be. So I believe if we each just stepped up our games a little bit with some pretty simple stuff and got really good at being really clear about who we are within our own unique brands, I know it would have a really massive impact. I think it's also important to remember that our individual brands make up the brand of Arbonne, more so even than the branding Arbonne has created for us from the top. We in the field are the face of the company, and social media is where we're most visible to the general public. And each of our brands, or lack thereof, is what's going to give clarity or confusion to those watching about who we are as a company and a community. Everything we do leads a person's opinion a nudge to the positive, a nudge to the negative, or leaves them completely indifferent. A nudge towards classy, healthy, fun, difference makers, green, beautiful, or a nudge the other way. And I think where the real power lies as leaders in this business, by us first getting clear on our own brands, we can then lead our teams or our future teams to do the same. Because if clear and beautiful and meaningful messaging is what duplicates from us to them, then we're truly putting out there to the world who we all know that we are in Arbonne and what we stand for. There's a little thing that has showed up on my screen, but hopefully I'm still good. Okay. Okay, and doing this together as a community is going to make us stand out in the best way. And we deserve to stand out, I'd say. Okay, so how do you build a successful social brand? I have to get rid of this little, okay. How do you build a successful social brand? I think sometimes we think that our brand has to do with Arbonne, and it doesn't. Like I mentioned, your brand is what's going to be the connection to and build trust with your audience. And that actually has nothing to do with Arbonne. That stuff is about you. But through this, we're going to learn how that can lead to success in Arbonne. So number one, you need to know your brand and what it stands for. So where do you begin? How do you get clear on what it is you want to represent? So here's just a few things to get you guys thinking, because these are what's going to help you figure out what your brand is. So first, think about your passions. What energizes you? What topics can you talk endlessly about? What do you love learning about? For me, the things that come to mind: healthy, natural living and whole foods, plant-based eating and cooking, conscious parenting, entrepreneurship, self-growth, and mindset. Next, I want you to think about fulfillment. What fulfills you in your life? What inspires you and gives you purpose? What makes you happier than anything else? For me, it's being a mom, being present with my kids. I also really love influencing people to do things just a little different than the norm, whether that's in how they're eating or parenting or earning. I believe my purpose is to help shift the norm, show people that if you do things just a little different than what most are doing, you can actually live a totally different life beyond what most people live. And I want to be an example of that. Now think about, how do you like to spend your time? What are 3 things outside of Arbonne that you spend the most time doing? If you had more time, what would you do? For me, reading for sure, adventures with family, trips, learning about health and the body, cooking amazing, healthy recipes. So as you begin to answer all these questions, try narrowing it down to about 3 to 5 topics or themes that your brand is going to be about. These should be an extension of your authentic self and the things that matter most to you. This is what people are going to connect with, you, okay? So don't pick things because you think they sound cool or whatever. Like, really try to pick those things that are meaningful to you. Once you have an idea of the topics that matter most to you and your brand, think about your brand values and personality. So getting clear on these will help you stay consistent when you're sharing content and engaging with your audience. Brand values don't change. Ultimately, it's what you stand for. So for me, it's wellness, family, and conscious living. So although the topics I'm interested may change from time to time, these core values will always be the consistent foundation of my brand. And if your values are what you say, then your personality is how you say it. How do you want to communicate with your audience? How does your audience want to be communicated with? So think about, a group of young moms versus retirees. Some examples are funny, transparent, authentic, inspirational, educational, sarcastic, fun, empathetic, cheeky, quirky, unexpected, direct, say it like it is, heartfelt, passionate. The list goes on. My brand personality is authentic, light and fun, and inspirational. Getting clear on your brand subjects, values, and personality is going to keep your message consistent. And this is how you'll build that real connection to your audience, which brings me to my next point. You need to know your audience. Identifying your audience is the main component of a strong social brand. This will help your brand thrive and in turn create business success. So oftentimes we don't take the time to get clear on who it is we ultimately want to connect with. And instead we remain neutral, trying to be everything to everyone, posting a bunch of random stuff in a bunch of different directions. But the thing is, you guys, and it makes total sense, when you're trying to please everyone and appeal to like 7 billion people, this is actually going to keep you from connecting with the 3 or 10 or 500 that are really going to matter. You need to get clear on who it is you want your tribe of followers, who's going to connect with what it is your brand really stands for. In the process, will you turn others away or lose the interest of some? Possibly. Will some even unfollow you? Probably. But if they weren't into your message anyways, then isn't that okay? By not trying to please the entire population with your posts, you'll end up connecting with those who actually care about what you're saying on a much deeper level. So number 3, share valuable content, not a sales pitch. This one's so important. People 100% don't go to Facebook or Instagram, as examples, to be sold to, but that does not mean they don't end up buying. People go to see people's lives and to learn stuff. They want fun, valuable, and useful content. So think about what you can share. Perhaps it's a glimpse into your day-to-day life, real and authentic. Maybe it's a clean eating recipe or a 5-minute face live or an article related to your brand topics. Keep them coming back wanting to see what else you're sharing. Instagram stories is my favorite way to share content. It's been a super effective way for me to give my audience that unedited, mostly unfiltered glimpse into my real day-to-day life and my brand. So in order to build trust with your audience, you have to post information and material that isn't specifically designed to push your products or business. So posting an article about safe beauty with the verbiage, "So happy I only use Arbonne," is really silly, even if your intentions are good. Is that article great content? Possibly, and maybe it's even worth a share, but you'll gain much more trust with your audience by not linking it to your brand, or people will think you're just trying to sell stuff and that's why you're posting it versus educate and serve your audience. I'll sometimes share my favorite smoothie recipe or protein balls or whatever, including Arbonne products in my Instagram stories. But more often I'll share a recipe completely unrelated to our products. This way people can see that healthy eating is a part of my brand because it's something that I stand for, not because it's just connected to Arbonne. If that makes sense. So again, this builds trust. Also, you want to create intrigue. You want them wanting to know more about you and coming back for more. So show your life, your family, your interests, valuable content. And then, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, for any of you who are familiar, you jab, 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 right hook. You jab, jab, jab with valuable, fun, useful content most of the time. And then 10 to 20% of the time is the right hook, meaning something business related. Otherwise, people don't want to be on your friends list. You have to provide value for them. With my Instagram stories, I always keep them going all day. It might be 15 seconds, 10 times a day, which is actually only about 2.5 minutes of my day, but people feel like they're actually getting to be a part of what I'm up to, which builds that connection. And of those 10 plus posts, likely 2 are something business related. So it's that jab, 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 right hook. I weave it in without making it all up in their face. Okay, my next point, number 4, be consistent with your posts. Posting daily is important to stay relevant and to keep engaging with your audience. The more you share, but not overshare, engaging, balanced content, the more your audience will interact with you and stay connected to you. Speaking of Facebook specifically, the more likes and comments you get, the more Facebook puts your stuff on the news feeds of those you're interacting with. That's the algorithm that you keep hearing about, which then leads to more interaction. It doesn't have to be a big post, and each platform will look a little different. For Instagram, it's usually posting a pic every day or two, following that 80-20 rule. And just so you know, on Instagram, people do want to get to know you through your captions. So don't be afraid to write a mini blog post from the heart in the caption of some, but not all of your pictures for any of you who are using Instagram. Instagram stories, it's important to keep them going always so you can build that audience. Okay, number 5, so important. You need to engage with your audience. Build relationships. So when people comment back. Engage in their content. Talk to them like they're your bestie. Not only does this help you show up in the news feeds and helps move you up the line of content so more people will see your stuff, but it also builds a real trusting relationship. Think of how many times, and we've all done it, that you've reached out to someone cold on Facebook, just out of nowhere, about coming to an event or trying a product or wanting to do coffee, share healthy living, whatever, and it's legit crickets, right? Now, what about those people that were commenting on your stuff or you were commenting on their stuff that you maybe go back and forth with a little, or they actually express some interest in, say, the 30 Days to Healthy Living, for example, through your posts? I bet that was a much more successful outcome because you're building that relationship and it truly is real. So I try to actually use my social media time every day to take, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, and go on and engage with those people that I'm really working to build that real relationship with, and comment on their stuff and like their pictures and things like that. And not just be like mindlessly scrolling, although I know I get caught in that sometimes too, but to really be more intentional with your time. Your social media is nothing without likes, comments, and shares, for real. So what can you post that people will like, comment on, or share? So think about this. Posting a stock image about the fizz, example here for you, equals no engagement, at least not from people outside of Arbonne. Even though you might see that picture and think it's so super cool and awesome, outside of Arbonne, nobody cares. So posting a selfie as an example with the caption, I actually don't even know if I slept last night. Any of you mamas out there feel me? Hashtag mom problems, hashtag TGFF, hashtag thank God for fizz, equals engagement. People, like, honestly, the tired moms of Facebook came out of the back corners to comment on that post because it opened up the doors for engagement. Just the other day, I posted about a smoothie bowl I had made with no mention of Arbonne, no showing Arbonne products in the pic. And it created so much engagement. People are asking me, what was in it? What was in it? Of course, Arbonne comes up, but it wasn't like I was posting it just to try and push the products. So it's important to keep that balance. So as I mentioned before, engagement equals visibility. No engagement equals no visibility. So when you're posting an image and no one is liking it, it's not showing up anywhere for people to see. So it really does limit the amount of engagement that can even happen. It's also important to remember that relationships and real connections build more loyalty than a product or company ever will. Your relationship is what people will keep coming back for or not. So if you want loyalty, build relationships. And yes, like we talked about and Carlita mentioned, in-person ones are paramount. But we need to also recognize that in today's world, social media is the biggest networking opportunity you have, hands down, that can lead to real, meaningful in-person relationships. Here's another example of a engaging versus not engaging. So think if you're scrolling through Instagram, whatever, you see that, you stop, right? You want to see what the heck is she doing to her face there, versus this picture of the Genius Ultra and people are like, don't even know what it is. Also healthy living. I mean, there's lots of things you can post about healthy living, but sometimes when it's just the products or something like that, it doesn't open it up for engagement. People want to see the pictures. They want your before and afters, and they are uncomfortable to share. I will be honest. I have ones in like my tight little like workout clothes that I did not want to share, but I did because it inspired other people to join me. So effective, which kind of leads into my next point. Be authentic. Your audience wants to see you. They do. They want to see your live videos, your before and afters, your stories. I know it's uncomfortable as hell, and you think that there's no way it's true, but it is. This one scares me, you guys, and I'm a work in progress, but we all know that that which we avoid often holds the greatest opportunity. People are creepers. They want to watch your life. They want to see the mess and the chaos and the real you. They want to see, just a sec here. This is Kate Flanagan, for those of you who don't know her. They want to, oh shoot, no. Here we go. I'll do it again. They want to see Kate. This is all online in her kitty costume. Oh my gosh. But this is Kate. She shows up. She shows up as herself on social media, and she creates so much engagement and interaction. She posts pictures like going out the door with 2 different shoes on, like, or things like that that are real because people want to see that. And I swear one of the biggest comments I get about my posts is people love that my kids are always a mess with no or little to no clothes on and unbrushed hair. And it's true. They are like this a lot of the time. This is pretty accurate. But people like to see that they aren't the only ones who can't keep it together or whose house or kids don't look perfect all the time. In a world of staged ads and, people, everything trying to look perfect, people want to see real. And that is how you're going to stand out, make a lasting impression, and ultimately sell more stuff, business and products, but not by selling, but by showing that it's a part of who you are to an audience that trusts you. And on this note, you guys, you need to create your own posts. Every word should come from you and show your personality. I know it's easy sometimes to just click share and take someone else's post, but it's not effective. And you want those posts and that time that you spend to be something that you get results from. people will get to know your unique voice and they'll begin to trust that. The easiest way to add personality to your brand on social media is to simply forget about the fact that you're writing for a brand. Write from your own mind in a way you would speak if you were talking to a friend in person. I've wasted so much time trying to write the perfect post, and then I'd usually just end up aborting mission and not posting anything. Whereas I've recently learned to write from the heart, words I would speak, and not only does it become easier, but then it actually connects with people. When people read your words on social media, they should think person, Laura, first, and Arbonne second, not the other way around. The most successful social brands out there are the ones that are personal, that there is a face to the brand that the audience knows and loves, and the product is an afterthought. So in summary, here's what I know for sure about social brands. When I think of the people I love to follow, it's 100% because of what they stand for. And you know what? They're all selling something. But I didn't follow them because of what they're selling. I chose to follow them because they know what they're about and they talk directly to me, their audience, because they know I'm about the same things, or else I wouldn't be following them, right? They share valuable, engaging content that I feel I benefit from and participate in. They're consistent and always present, so top of mind. And more than anything, they are them, authentic and real. And all of these things combined make me know them, like them, and trust them, which in turn makes me want to use or have what they use or have, because I trust that we're alike. And if their product choices are a good fit for them, then they'll likely be a good fit for me too. I have made so many purchase decisions in this way. And we in Arbonne have the biggest opportunity with this because we don't just sell products. We have a lifestyle business that people can actually say, not only do I want what she uses, I want the life that she has, and they can have it. And that's 100% the impact I want to have on my audience. So we want people to connect with our unique brands, with who we are as individuals, and not feel like they're being sold to. I want the reputation from our cumulative online presence in this company to be one of positive impression, of intrigue, of appeal, of I want a piece of that. And it really does start with each of us stepping up our games, putting our real selves out there, and being an example to others of how Arbonne can add incredible things to our already incredible selves. So thank you guys so much. I hope that you got a little something from that. I'm going to stop my share, and I'm going to check out the comments because there might be some questions. Is that okay, Carlita? I don't know if there is any.
Absolutely okay. I was kind of running through there. I think most of those are
common.
Okay. But
perfect.
They may have some questions now that you said you were willing to to field some of those, but I was watching just to make sure. And again, I mean, I'm still sitting here. I was still just taking notes like crazy and trying to just take it in to make it more of my mindset and develop that skill that it just seems so natural with you. And it is absolutely so beautiful coming out of your mouth and makes it seem so real that this can be a way that you can reach an audience that will actually be made better because they had content with or connection with you. And it starts through this just being genuine and natural and transparent and all the things that you said. It's incredible training, and I'm so excited that our CEO is smart enough to recognize this in you and to share you with all of us and let you help us do this better, because you said it, we are classy. And that's the thing that I love to teach people, you know, more than anything, especially new people that are coming into the business and will even say either, oh, I want to, you know, sell on social media. I think this will be great. Or I don't ever want to have to post on social media. And it's because of what even people in Arbonne have done. And I just want us as a company to learn how to continue to do it in a classy way. And you have helped us do that. So thank you for making a difference. And I know everybody here is just blown away, just like I was. So
awesome. Well, thank you.
Enjoy your time with your family and being warm. I'm so grateful that you don't have to be in the PEI. I did get to go there, and it is beautiful. And I'm so grateful I got to be there with all of you at your retreat. But I'm glad you're in Florida.
Yeah, me too. To be able to sit outside right now. I actually see somebody wrote that their son lives in PEI. That's so cool. What a small world.
I know it is a small world. So
It's a beautiful place, but I am in Wellington, Florida, to answer the other question right now, and it is also beautiful. So,
yeah, yeah. Well,
yeah,
enjoy, sweetie, and I will see you
cool,
at
cool.
GTC. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
can't wait. See you guys. Have a good night.
Bye, guys.